to the Omakase Show webinar series. My name is Wawa or Roana Yara, and I'm hosting this series. And today we have an amazing guest. But before we dive into the episode, I just wanted to remind you that you can always support our show. By doing so, just go directly to our profile on Twitter, and then you can use this cash button and send your donations in Ethereum, which is highly appreciated. And we have Piter today, an incredible generative artist. And hi, Piter, thank you so much for joining me. And can you tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into the space?
Yeah, so my name's Piter Pasma. I'm a generative artist from the Netherlands. And yeah, so I've been creative coding all my life almost. And pretty much any software I wrote has been creative in one way or another. And I got started with graphics programming way long ago in like the late 90s with demoscene programming, which is like a very competitive, mostly located in Europe, type of international community for people that made, I call them like a cross between video clips and computer games. They're like video clips in the sense that you just watch them, enjoy them, and then it's over. And it's like a video game in the sense that it's all real time being generated by the computer as you're watching it. So it's not a recording. And these are like audio visual demonstrations of the coder's skill. Um, I used to do that in the early 2000s, late 90s. Then I studied computer science for a while, and I still kept making computer art. This time I left behind a bit of the real time. Um, yeah, the demo scene has these rules. Everything needs to be real time. And I was happy to let that go when I was broadening my horizons in generative art. Um, and in Yeah, at some point I got to know the generative art community via Instagram, and Aaron Penny invited me to the Generative Artist Club, which is an online community of many generative artists. And yeah, I organized January, which is a yearly month of generative art where everyone can participate, and there's 31 prompts that I put together with the help of a bunch of people. But yeah, I'm the one pulling the card every year on that. I made a big project on art blocks called Sculpture. That's it's Yeah, it's known for being one of the first photorealistic projects, graphics projects on art blocks. It is 1,000 images of uh, highly detailed photorealistic renders of imaginary statues, in a sense, sculptures, and yeah, and you can. Is there like I can I put links somewhere, or should I?
Um, I think so. I think we have a chat.
Yeah, I was looking at it,
I
but
don't know. Oh yeah. So basically, click on Studio Chat and then you can type a message.
yeah, it's I made my own website, which is a bit. I don't know. I like it. It's easier to browse to see
Okay.
all of them at once. Can you see the link in the chat?
Yeah, it's all here. Let me show it. Oh yeah, it's much better, honestly.
So you can it just loads a bit quicker, and yeah, I figured that a beautiful project needs even more space to exist. Although the Artblocks website, it's nice, and all of
Is
these
it
also
cre-
link to their
is it
pages on Artblocks.
is
Sorry.
it generative coding as well? Is this creative coded?
Yeah.
The site?
So the code is actually, I'm not. My website is a little bit of a mess, but The code you can see on this other link that I just put in the chat. It's it's interesting. Yeah, so that is all of it. It is just 6,370 characters. And it doesn't use any external libraries, no 3D models, no external data, and everything, all the 1,000 images are generated by just these 6,000 characters. And I worked on that for half a year, um, and it didn't start out that tiny. It used to be a bit bigger. Yeah, this is explanations about how I use intersections of shapes to create all the different forms that you see in sculpture. But at some point, I started size optimizing it, also because it was supposed to be written on the blockchain, and every character cost money to write the code on chain. But I took it to a bit of a ridiculous extreme, maybe. Although gas prices were pretty high in those days, yeah. And then at some point, all of it fits on the screen, and you're like, how did I? How did half a year of work turn into just 6,000 characters? Is that? I felt a bit scared. Like, is that all? But when you see the outputs of the code, and that is somewhat of the magic that I want to show to people, the power of code, that something ridiculously small like 6,000 characters can be yeah, can do stuff like that. I have another, see if I can quickly find that. Yeah, I think it's this one. I don't know if you want to do this, but this is a this is a tweet I made with a piece of code in it, and if you copy paste just that bit of code into your browser tab,
Oh, really? Just the code?
it will run the program and generate one of those images, so you can like experience what it means that your browser now knows a new trick that you put in there.
Oh my God. Okay, what's this? Wow.
So just because you copy,
Okay.
and if you refresh the page, you get a new one.
What? Wow, that's so cool.
So you're a
What?
little bit of a coder right now.
Yeah, kind of low-key color. That's really interesting. And I guess I wanted to ask you, this is something that you mentioned a couple of times, that you are really into randomness, but then again, it is also quite like debatable what is random in our world. Because I had one lecture about randomness in general, and then if you're looking about randomizer side, they are also dependent on some kind of waves. And if you're looking on randomness, if we go to casino, for instance, it is also not really random because the dealer knows the pressure and the twist of an arm just to roll the dice in exact correct numbers.
Yeah,
So I decided to check with you on what is randomness in this case for you and
it's a
what
good,
role it plays.
really good and very deep question. So you asked me before in the questions that you sent me about this quote, which I wanted to explain. It's actually a quote from Vera Molnar. She made that line about using randomness as both an inspirational and as a creative force. And I think that is two aspects of randomness that are very intriguing. Like the inspirational aspect of randomness, I find in, if you are familiar with the tarot cards, or with the I Ching for divining the future. These are both, in a way, Um, they use sources of randomness and then apply a certain rule system to turn that into a form of generative storytelling in a sense. I mean, it depends if you believe in magic or not, but if you put aside that aspect, it is just a way of making stories from randomness. And I think that is very interesting. There's also Brian Eno, a famous ambient artist, a musician. He made a deck of cards called the Oblique Strategies. And this is a deck of cards. You have to shuffle it, and you take, if you're an artist and you're out of inspiration, you take one card, and it says something like use water, or maybe it says
Hmm.
repetition, or it's something super vague but inspirational. And this is like, um, I I also sometimes, when I'm really stuck, I just draw a tarot card. It also works. It's a little bit like playing a chord, and because there's all these meanings in such a card, and then feeling what resonates. So it is like, that is what I mean when I say randomness as inspiration, because you can sometimes be inspired by random events, or serendipitous events. And then there is the randomness as a creative force, which is, yeah, the other aspect of randomness is where you can you can build things with randomness. You can shape things with randomness by, yeah, how do I? Well, for instance, a lot of people like using the noise function in P5 Jazz, which makes this blobby, cloudy type of data patterns. And these are based on random numbers. And often in a lot of projects, you see that the main shapes and so the overall design and forms on the image are in fact based off Berlin noise, or yeah, those kinds of noise things. And then you are using randomness as a creative force in a sense. So yeah, that's one aspect. And then, yeah, your other question about where does randomness really come from? It is, yeah, well, I like one thing I like about the I Ching is in the book, in the Wilhelm translation of the book, there is a foreword by Carl Jung who talks about randomness. And he talks about coincidence, where coincidence, it's two incidents that do not have an immediately apparent um, causal prior or something like that. Like everything has a cause, and you can see like causes twirling down into the universe. And if two things happen at the same time, but they don't share a common causal reason for happening at the same time, that is what Carl Jung defines as coincidence. And it is very literal. It is the coincidence of two things, but the part where they don't share a common cause is what makes it a coincidence. Like if I think of a number and I throw a dice and it is that number, that's a coincidence, because there was no common causal link between those two things. And yeah, and then he turns into a couple of loops and says that's why you can predict the future with I Ching. That part is a bit fake, but
That's highly interesting. I guess another question is like, it's a really weird one. I have a couple of creative coder friends, and then also I have front and back developers that are also coding every day. And they tell me the weirdest stuff, like they know a bunch of interesting facts,
Mm-hmm.
As you just mentioned about causality, but then also one guy, he is a front developer, and he told me that a prompt to make a person go, like walk, would be falling down in a way that every time we make a step, we are falling down, which makes sense. So I guess the weird question I have in my mind is that how
Sorry,
come
you're breaking up a little bit. Can you say it
coders
again?
know?
Can
Can
you,
you hear me right now?
well, it's a bit breaking up. I'm sorry. Maybe it's me.
It's a bit weird.
Mm,
Yeah, don't worry about it. I think it's the same for me.
I will
Don't
close
worry about
my
it.
browser for
Okay.
the.
Okay.
So you're asking your friend was saying something about walking and falling?
Yeah. So yeah, so he was trying to explain to me that every time he steps up, if he was to code this process, just kind of put it into code, it would be move, fall, copy, move, fall, something like this. I don't remember, but it was an interesting fact that he shared with me. So my question is that how come I notice a pattern that a lot of coders just know like really weird facts? Like the one you shared about causality, and he shared with me about walking. Perhaps there is some interconnection and some research you do in order to be able to code. Therefore,
Hmm.
really interesting stuff because of this.
Oh, that's interesting that you noticed that. I'm not entirely sure, but it is an aspect of a certain type of mind, I guess. That I see. I like um, I like knowing the details about everything, and it's like some people think bottom up and others think top down about stuff, and therefore I really can go very deep into rabbit holes about just trying to figure out stuff, and yeah, and then just I guess yeah, curiosity is a thing. I mean, isn't the real question why aren't most people not that interested in weird facts?
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Um, well, I have a question. But before, so basically, I was preparing for this webinar and I was browsing your website and I found this absolutely iconic picture. So I was born in early 2000. That's
Hmm.
why I guess I've never witnessed kind of late 90s, and therefore I was like, whoa, what is happening there? So basically, I saw this picture and I was like, okay, that's like a really cool picture. Then I saw a guy who is smoking on the background. Clearly too young to do so. So in general, this picture is from
This is a demo. This
1990.
is a demo party. So
Yeah.
these are
What
the
is demo party?
so these are the
And
events where the demo scene happened. They were like this is I think it was Ambience 1999. This picture, and
yeah,
it's so everybody. It's in some kind of sport hall or whatever event center. Everybody brought their own computers, which you can see are not like the slim laptops we have nowadays. You actually had to carry that huge monitor and the desktop tower thing. I don't know. I once had them sitting next to me in the train traveling to a demo party. I remember this. It was crazy times. But yeah, and then you just had a weekend of people coming together doing art with code and music and graphics. And I was surviving on such a weekend. You can see there's a jar of peanut butter and there's a bottle of Pepsi Max, I think. uh,
yeah, indeed.
there's yeah, so peanut butter sandwiches, and I mean, I was a poor student, so that was what I had. On the screen, you can see the first screen of my one of my 4 kilobyte demos called Organic. Unfortunately, that one is not has not been recorded to YouTube. I should. It can be done. It's not like that ancient that it's really hard, but it doesn't automatically run. You need an emulator called DOSBox to run it now. But a couple of others are video captured and put on YouTube by some demo sceners, because the demo scene is one thing that the generative art world can really learn from the demo scene is their approach to archival. Like even, and I don't want to throw shade or anything, but even like this week or the week before that, there was some issues with some very old generative art projects not entirely rendering the way they originally did, and it's like, and it's archival stuff like that. Everything, there's a huge server called scene.org where you can download all the demos of all time. They keep track of all because there were competitions at these parties that you could enter. So I entered the 4 kilobyte competition, and I think I actually won first
You
place with this
won.
one. And
Yeah. And so this is actually a question I have also in my head. So it says that you won in 4 different categories, but also I'm trying to understand what is the decision maker, who is the decision maker, like who are the judges,
oh,
but then also
everybody,
what are the
there's voting
criteria?
at the party.
Oh,
So
it's people who vote.
yeah, there's the demos will be shown on like a big cinema size screen in a hall, or projected on the wall with big speakers for the sound, and they will be played one after the other. And then afterwards, people can also download them from the party network and run them on their own computer to watch them again. And somewhere at some point, there's a voting deadline, and everybody has to get their votes in before then. And near the end of the party is the prize ceremonies going on. And
Wow.
usually the deadline for entering entries to a demo competition is during the demo party. So I'm not just showing off my 4K on that photo. I'm also still doing the finishing touches on it, because the deadline for actually entering it has not passed yet. So everybody's like frantically trying to finish their demos during the demo party, and yeah, it's just it's a vibe. It's very cool. I stopped going to them because I was studying at university and I didn't have time to make more demos, and I found that I really needed the thrill of taking part in the competitions. Otherwise, I was just like, yeah, I'm here with a computer and some people that I could also talk to online. No, well, yeah, no, it was, yeah, that was a bit different. I just found that I went to a few demo parties without having anything to enter into a competition, and I felt like this is not as much fun. So then I kind of lost interest.
That's extremely interesting. And in your opinion, which projects won more? The ones that had like really complex coding behind them, or the ones that just had were visually appealing, or maybe you noticed some patterns?
In the demo scene, this was a continuous point of discussion, like tech demos versus design demos versus doing something really artsy or putting poetry in it. Or there was this one demo that was really beautiful. They took a track from Fear Factory, a metal band that And everybody was like up in arms, like, yeah, well, if you use already produced music, then how are we going to compete? And is that going to be the new standard? And there was a lot of discussion about like how it's supposed to be. And is there a trend? Yeah, yeah, demoscene is like cubes. That's the trend. They really like cubes, effects with cubes in it. But otherwise, it's it's always about. I mean, there's this quote by Grant Smith about the demo scene. I don't know if I can quickly find it. Grant Smith. Do, 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 do. Um, um, yeah. This is the. I will also put it in the chat. You can. I don't know if you want to look at this, but there's a screenshot. Nah, I'll just explain it. It's about the artists, the demo scener. They want to do something impossible, basically. They want to show something with that people didn't think was possible to do on a computer. And this has gotten a little bit harder because computers gotten so powerful they can do pretty much anything nowadays. But in the early 2000s, it was still like, oh, you can do real-time ray tracing. That's usually impossible. But so yeah, that's and I still have a lot of the like yeah the competitiveness and I wanna make sure that my generative artworks are also of like high level technically, which is not. I mean, they don't always have to be. Of course, I've learned a lot about that also coming into contact with the wider generative art world. That thinking what I think is good art or how computer art is supposed to be. There's a huge world out there with people with very different opinions, and that's wonderful. I learned so much from all those different points of view.
That's really interesting. While we are on it, I have another tweet, so I'm struggling sometimes to understand like tech,
Oh yeah.
tech related tweets. And another question I crafted for you was like, can you explain this one to me?
So yeah, this is something I. This is one of those rabbit holes I fell into. Oh, how do I? So this is a very short piece of JavaScript code that calculates the CRC 16-bit checksum of some kind. Now, what is a CRC 16-bit checksum? I don't know if you have heard about this, but like if you have bank account numbers or credit card numbers, they have if you change one digit in a bank account number, it will always be invalid. This is how bank account numbers work. Not every random number is a valid bank account number. And they do this via a method called checksums. Uh, and it means like it differs per bank how they exactly do this. But one common way is to make sure that all the digits add up to a multiple of 9, something like that. And this is very easy to do. Like if you have a number, you can always add one number to it to make it be a multiple of 9. And that number is called like a checksum of a sort. And it helps when, especially back in the day when people wrote like checks by hand, if you make like one, you don't want it to accidentally end up in the wrong bank account. You would rather have the bank system say, error, this is not a valid bank account number. And yeah, you'd rather have it fail than end up in the wrong place. And that is why checksums exist. These are also, in a sense, the blockchain is built. Bitcoin is based on a certain kind of checksum. These the puzzles that they have to solve every block are made so that the checksum of the previous block plus some kind of extra text has to have the most number of zeros in the end, or something like that. Don't pin me on this. It's been a while since I exactly read how Bitcoin worked, but it's something like that. And yeah, so that is basically, it's if you have a piece of data, you can calculate the checksum of that piece of data and store it together with the checksum. And then if the data ever gets corrupted, you will know that it happened because it no longer matches with the checksum. So it's like a fingerprint of the data in a way. And I I was doing something complicated that I needed the checksums for, and I just fell into the rabbit hole trying to find out how does a checksum actually work. And I came across a formula for it, and then I thought, hey, I can make this super short. Let's see how short I can make it. And then it got so short that I figured, well, I can tweak this. and it's and it's
Okay.
so the activity of making code smaller and smaller is called code golf, which I also tagged the tweet with, which
Mhm.
sort of invites people like, if you can shorten this even further, do it. No,
Wow.
do it.
So if you are a coder and
Mhm.
you see this tweet, you get it, right? You understand the whole context you just
You
explained
have
to
to
me.
study it for a bit because it is not. It is like short, and therefore it is not the most normal way to write it. It's like if somebody writes in like only abbreviations, and you know all the abbreviations, but it still takes a bit of extra mental power to read all of it.
Wow. Well, I have a video you shared with me. It is actually the Revolution Never
Hmm.
Bored 1999 artwork. I'm low-key afraid to showcase it because of my connection, but then I think we can at least try and see how it goes. So this is basically, I guess, I checked it before the
Hmm.
webinar and it was like so impressive, and the music. Uh,
You can
have
also
you?
put a link somewhere
Yeah,
because it's
we
on.
can also, yeah, I think it's better to share the link. But also, I got like super curious if you were the one working on the music as well.
Ooh, that's a good. I have to double check. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. Uh, Let me. Well, no, 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 no. I wait. I remember. It says in the end, code Ritz. That's me, and it says music Xam. That's somebody else.
And
So
what's your nickname? You just mentioned Code.
Ritz. That's me. RITZ. And the other guy who I'm not sure if I ever met him actually. I'm guessing his name is probably Max because his nickname was Xam. Uh, and I only talked to him via BBSs, so like pre-internet chatting stuff. And this was in an era before. I always used to think I'm not that good at making music. It took me until I did volunteer work for a long time where I taught kids to do cool stuff on the computer. And there was one kid who's now one of my best friends. He wanted to become a musician, a DJ, producer, and together with him, he was 10 back then. I started exploring how to make electronic music on the computer. and discovered that I can do that. It was just like I always thought that music was something magical that you have to have like a special
Yeah.
touch for to, and I was afraid that I would make some music something that I thought sounded cool, but it would break some kind of music rule, and I wouldn't know. It's kind of ridiculous, I know, but so that was I did program like the engine that is capable of playing the music and what makes the sounds and stuff. But basically, I asked the other guy to put the sounds in a nice order.
I'm so impressed. Wow. Wow, really impressed. Actually, I really wanna go give it a chance with the video. So it's a really
Hmm.
nice artwork, and then we can also give some context regarding how it sounds and looks.
Sure.
Was the sound?
I think it might work better if you turn off the
Yeah,
music.
just I cannot hear it. Oh, oh, but I think I have it. Okay, I cannot
It's
figure out the sound. I
you
don't know
press
why it
N.
doesn't work. We really need the sound. I press what?
Mhm.
Okay,
I'm not even sure if
that's
it's
weird.
working. I
And
see
then again,
just
I
see the
also.
front screen. Oh, there's one. Well,
Okay, okay.
that was
Yeah,
an experience.
it is how it is. Well, I also wanted to ask you, so basically you've been doing this for a while, and you never before had blockchain, NFTs, and this kind of technology. Do you think when we kind of NFTs became mainstream and we started implementing blockchain technology to digital art, do you think it changed the way you create art? Did it become better or worse? And in general, like your experience?
It definitely changed it for a bit because of the way that like making computer programs that a lot of people were before already making computer programs. If you refresh them, they make new random art every time. And when art blocks came around to like facilitate that kind of workflow, it was like really a match made in heaven in a certain way. One thing that I also really like is that when I show um, when I show people an artwork that is of the type refresh for new art, like the one you just copied in your browser from Twitter or something else, I can put that on a display with a button in front of it and show it to people, and they will press refresh a few times, and they will walk away with the idea that okay, that was cool. That was a computer program that makes images that sort of look like this, and that is their experience of that artwork. And when NFTs came around, it completely changed that experience into it added onto, because the old one still exists if you want, but now you can also own one of the outputs, and that one is yours and it's special, and maybe it looks a little bit like a goose, uh, like the one from Ringers. But this is a very like that's a completely different experience than what people could have with the same type of program before. Like now, this particular output belongs to you, and that just that alone makes it special. And it like I like to play with that idea as well, because when I showed people the completely random outputs that they have to press refresh to get a new one, and they said, "Oh, I like the previous one," I will tell them, "Well, it's gone forever. No way to get it back."
Oh, really?
Well, that's how randomness work. It just refresh. I mean, those images that you just got from the Twitter, you will never see those exact
What?
ones again.
What? Really? I thought they would be kind of the same for everyone in just like the
No,
order.
these were yours. Your computer
Oh,
was doing
okay.
that.
Well, I have it on recording, so all good. I
Yeah,
have it
exactly.
recorded.
And it doesn't matter. You can just make new ones forever. But if you wanted to keep
Wow.
those particular ones, you would have to record them. And now with the blockchain, they record the random seed of that generated all the parameters together with the code, and it can always reconstruct the original or the original minted piece. And this allows the collector to have to have like an artistic relation with that one piece, instead of if it was an installation where somebody just gets to refresh them forever. And I just think that bit alone really enriched the experience of generative art, in my opinion.
What should you do with code to add the randomness and to create an effect where one artwork that was generated will never be generated again? You should do something with the code, right? It's not by default, it's not how it is.
Right. So in the case of, there are several ways to do it. In the case of the code you got from Twitter just now, it uses the built-in function math.random, which is inside the browser, and it will generate new random numbers all the time. They won't ever be the same, and you can't even control the random seed of them, so that's just impossible. If you want to control the random seed, you have to write something called a pseudo random number generator. And yeah, I happen to have, well, I didn't write it myself. I got the algorithm from Wikipedia, but I, again, code golfed it into a super short bit of code of 170 characters or so, which I gave to the Artblocks community, because I thought it's like important that people don't mess around with random number generators too much, because if you get them wrong, you can get worse than random. And anyway, a lot of people use that code, and the code has the words "Thanks, Peter" written inside it somewhere, which is probably 100 times on the blockchain by now. So that's nice for a future archaeologists or something. And how do you make a random number generator? Um, can I make that like to a non-coder?
I guess you
It's
cannot. I guess most
well,
definitely that I wouldn't understand it, but
it's
then,
it's basically about shuffling. Like if you have like a test tube with like white balls, like four white balls, four red balls above each other,
okay.
and you shake it, then if you shake it long enough, some point maybe all the white ones will be on the top and all the red ones will be at the bottom. But now if you have a test tube with white powder on the bottom and red powder on top, and you shake that, those are like a billion tiny balls. They will never, ever, ever, you can shake for as long as you want, but they will never, ever sort again by accident. But it's the same type of system, it's just bigger. And this tells us something that randomness is like, you just have to mix stuff, and if you forget where it came from, it's as good as random. That's about as as the way I can explain it the best.
Wow. Okay, I got also curious, what's your major? Is this something related as well to coding? Because you mentioned you were studying in the university at the time, so
Yeah, I studied computer science at first, and then I took a master's in machine learning. But that was before the big deep learning and neural networks got cool again. So I learned the theory, but not. I was just too early for the big boom. But I don't really mind, because I actually like the creative coding aspect of computational science a lot. Um, and yeah, it's about these, well, like you say, about all these weird facts about how you, there's all these, like, for instance, I just explained about these checksums, but checksums are, in fact, random number generators. They're the same kind of thing. And it's really, really strange how all the topics in information theory just seems to be circling back on each other. Like, it just, yeah, it feels really fundamental to me in a way. Like, if you have like that checksum thing, for instance, if your data was like counting, so you start with 1, 2, 3, 4, and you take the checksum of just a counting sequence, the checksums will be pretty much looking random looking. I mean, not really random, that's determinism and stuff, but that's, yeah, that's more a philosophy question. I don't really, they say you can make like extra super duper random numbers from quantum generators that we really can't predict, and but I think the algorithmically random numbers are also very interesting, and that's just, yeah, that's the pseudo random numbers. I mean, they're random enough. The big ones, they test them with statistical tests, and they have to generate like terabytes of random numbers before they find statistical deviations that tell that they weren't exactly random. So I pretty random.
Wow. Okay. Really out of nowhere question. What's your favorite number and why?
Favorite number? I like I like 23
Okay.
because
Why?
2 + 3 = 5, and all things are somehow directly or indirectly related to the number 5. This is called the law of fives. It's you can look it up, but it's it's a stupid joke from another rabbit hole that I will skip for now. But I like 23. It's good number. There's no, I mean, 1, 2 are also good numbers.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. This was out of nowhere question, but yeah, thanks for answering.
Do
Well,
you
I
have a
guess
favorite number?
yeah, but it's like normal stuff. So I like numbers that are dividend to 3, which is basically all the numbers that can be multiplied to 3. I think
Mm-hmm.
you asked me, right?
Not sure, but numbers that are can be multiplied by
I think
3.
I'm not sure if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. You were saying you like numbers that are multiples of 3. Now I'm not sure if you can hear me. Mm, um, or now you seem frozen as well. Hmm. Well, Olena is frozen. Let me see if I can think of something interesting to talk about by myself. Oh, hello.
Hey, hey there. So yeah, my favorite numbers are the ones that can be divided on 3. I don't know why, but yeah, so basically all the numbers that you can sum up together and they can be divided to 3, which makes any number kind of
It's one third of
divided.
all numbers. That's a lot of them.
Oh, God, I never thought about it this way. A lot of numbers, yeah. But if I go for one, it would be 7, which is not dividend to 3, but I like it. Yeah. Okay, so I have a question. about what would be your tips for kind of emerging generative artists, and I know that it would include a lot of tips regarding like learning.
Hmm.
I had a couple of creative coders on these webinars, and basically they all had like basic tip about studying. It requires a lot of time. So perhaps you have also some tips for them that you would share.
Sure. Yeah, I also get this asked a lot. So I made a page on my website that's called Get Started.
Mm.
It's kind of old. It's kind of short, but it's got a couple of good links. What is it? Yeah, processing. I should rewrite this actually because I'm recommending P5JS, and I think that people are just, I mean, if you're gonna have to learn coding anyway, you might as well just use vanilla JavaScript without libraries because it's not that hard. Uh, so maybe I should rewrite this page. But on the other hand, like I said, a lot of generative artists are doing stuff in different ways than I. So P5 is fine, I guess. I I have to just recommend the Coding Train, Daniel Schiffman's YouTube channel, which is his enthusiasm is so infectious that it just makes me wanna code. Even though, I mean, personally, he doesn't tell me anything new, but it's just such a joy to watch him go at it and make mistakes. He makes lots of mistakes and then fixes them, and it just shows how programming actually goes. So yeah, that's especially creative coding. So I would recommend that for getting started.
I think
And
I heard his name before. I think somebody also mentioned him as a place where you should go to kind of pick up some basics of creative coding.
mhm. Yeah, it's a YouTube channel. I will put a link here.
Thank you. And so the final question would be what are you working on right now? What are some upcoming things we can expect to see from you and all this stuff?
Yeah, I've been chasing rabbit holes this year.
Okay, a rabbit hole would be kind of an illogical part, the complication that just doesn't work. Is this correct?
Yeah, sort of. It's like just something I find interesting, and then I go into it. And I, my last project was the Impossible Sentinels that I released on FX Hash for Cure Cubed. That's a charity to help cure Parkinson's. And after that, I was a little bit like, what am I gonna do? And I figured I'm just gonna do something I thought was fun. And for a few months, that was binary lambda calculus, but nothing came out of it. And it was all very abstract and interesting, but no graphics. And then I picked up this little I picked up an electronics project. I have to dig it up here. That's this. It's going to be a little synthesizer. I have this tiny thingy. This is a ESP32, and it's a tiny computer that's only like €3 or so. And I got a super tiny screen. Um, Let me check if I can plug it into my computer. I'm not sure what. It just needs to be plugged into the computer for to get power. By the way, it's its own computer. So I just put the uh, USB cable, and it. Yeah, you can see now it does
Whoa!
thingies
Cute.
on the display.
Mhm.
But it's also got like this other thing here, which is it has like an audio jack that you can put like a headphone in. Do I show this correctly?
Mhm.
Uh, there that you can put
Yeah.
a headphone jack into, and then it makes noise, sound, and I actually want to turn it into a synthesizer. That's if I does everybody see the whole chat if I share it in there because I can.
I'm actually really unsure. Um,
I will not share that link then right now because it's not. I will send it in your Instagram
yeah, okay.
DMs.
So it's not
So
to be publicly shared, I guess.
yeah, so because
Okay.
this synthesizer thing is still a work in progress. What I did here is
Oh wow, it looks so cool.
thank
I just
you.
opened it. I'm not showing it
There's
actually.
also my last couple of Instagram posts are also video recordings of this program. But I basically, so the little screen that I just showed is 128 by 64 pixels, and I'm trying to make like a tiny user interface in those pixels and trying to figure out how many buttons I need. And I wanna this is the hardest part. I'm a coder. I'm not that handy with. I mean, this is look at this awful mess with
You made it
glue.
yourself or not?
I did make it myself, but it sucks and it's falling apart. And I need to. My next job is to learn how to model for 3D printers and make a nice box for this.
Okay, so basically this scene is somehow related to the website you just sent to me.
Yeah, so the website is JavaScript, but I programmed this thing with C code. But I wrote the JavaScript in such a way that it looks almost the same as the C code's going to be, so I can transfer it really quickly. Because every time I want to change the program on this one, I need to upload it over the USB, and it takes about 20 to 30 seconds, and that's annoying. While if I just save the web page and reload, refresh instantly, and I can just much easier develop for the website and try out different versions. So I'm first, I'm prototyping the user interface on the website, and then when I finally have a box for all of this, it's going to be on this little screen with buttons that you can then play around with. It's actually going to be a present for that friend of mine, the musician producer that I mentioned earlier. Because yeah, well, I'm probably going to make more than one because they're cheap and simple to make. Hopefully, once I
Wow,
got everything figured
that's
out.
a really nice present. If this person also understands all of this.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, he knows. It's just his birthday was like in April, so I'm a bit late.
But I mean, you're doing something really complex, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's like I said, rabbit holes. It turned out to be. I That is the thing. The that thing about the checksums was actually something I was digging into because of this, and I
How
just
are they? How are the two connected?
well. Um, so have you ever heard about like if you have a USB stick or an SD card and you can only write to it so many times before it breaks?
Oh, really? Wow.
Well, yeah, but it's 10,000 times or 100,000 times, so don't worry about it too much.
You have to work too much to kind of break it.
But
Or
it depends, and also they shuffle the data around, so it doesn't really wear out as quickly. But there's also storage like that on this device, but it's only 3 megabytes, so you need to take special care for that you don't wear it out. And that was yeah, it was just super interesting. When I learned about it, I was like, oh, that's interesting. But then well, another artist friend of mine, Matthijs Kuiper, he convinced me like, don't go there, Peter. Just get this. You can buy a tiny component for €1, and it's an SD card slot, and you can just use any SD card instead of because I didn't want the memory on this to wear out, because if this memory wears out, this whole thing becomes e-waste. And but if an SD card wears out, it's fine, because then you just put a new one in.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much. I think it was a lot of really interesting information that I partially got, sometimes I didn't, but I do feel like you were really good at explaining it. And
Thanks.
thank you so much for your time, for joining me today, and please keep us posted on everything that you're working on right now. And have a nice day.
Thank you so much. I had a really great time with the interview as
Yeah,
well.
likewise. Bye.